Thank you, Dr. FRAWLEY. I'm very honored to welcome you at this interview, and at the same time, I'm thankful to you because as a student of yours, through your courses, I had the chance to learn about the immense world of ancient wisdom. And now I'm bringing your courses in Albanian and French language so other people can profit from it too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. FRAWLEY, your immersion in ancient Indian tradition goes beyond academia. You have invested all your life in the exploration and sharing of Vedic sciences, including Yoga, Ayurveda, Vedanta, and Vedic astrology. With your work, you have not only enlightened individuals, but you have also contributed immensely to the understanding of ancient Indian wisdom. You are a well-known author, a teacher, a practitioner of Vedic sciences, dedicating your life's work to unveiling the mysteries of the Vedas and fostering a holistic approach to health and well-being. You have illuminated the path of many, and we eagerly anticipate diving into the wealth of knowledge you bring. My first question for you is, what is Ayurveda, and what are the approaches it can bring to people in order to improve their health and well-being?
Namaste. Thanks again for inviting me. I'm very happy to be with you and your sharing of our knowledge. You've asked some very profound questions. Ayurveda is a science of life, but also well-being, happiness, even rejuvenation, a wellness of body and mind, right living, connecting us with all the benefic forces of the universe, and at the same time teaching us how to avoid the problems, difficulties, even pathogens that can cause trouble for us in life. So it's a broader view of health and well-being than modern medicine. It connects to the yogic spirituality and to the Vedic pursuit of higher consciousness and also higher prana, a greater life force and energy. As such, it covers the whole of life and nature, and it teaches us not simply how to counter diseases. It teaches us how to live better, what is the right diet, behavior, activities, associations, relative to our individual constitution, our personal nature, and how to understand the forces of life. So we bring in what is positive for us and avoid what is negative to us by our own inner understanding and our connection to an understanding with nature's wisdom itself. Hari Om.
Thank you. Ayurveda is very connected with doshas. So defining the constitution of someone is one of the most important steps in Ayurveda. What are doshas? What's the connection with the 5 elements? And how can people define their predominant dosha so they can personalize their lifestyle and their diet and everything else?
Well, we have to understand that we are a reflection of the entire universe. We are a mini universe. So all the forces of nature are working within us, but within each individual, they're working in a unique way. If we look out into nature, we see all these sun, moon, waters, mountains, earth, plants, so many things. These are also within us, and particularly these elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, space. So we are also at a biological level, a combination of these forces of nature, but we are a unique combination. So in that regard, doshas are these primary forces, vata air and ether, pitta, fire predominantly, and kapha dosha, more the earth and water. And so these variations move within us, and you can look and see there are different constitutions of people. Some people are naturally tall, short, thin, heavier, more active, less active, more expressive, less expressive. So there cannot be one standardized approach for everyone. Even in a specific disease, there can't be the same approach given to each person, regardless of age, regardless of energies, regardless of body type, mental state. So Ayurveda says we must first understand our individual constitution. And that requires an in-depth analysis of our lifestyle, our history, medical history, inclinations, so we know where we tend to go. So some people will be perceptive, fiery, expressive, sometimes more easily prone to anger and tending to be assertive, but also highly intelligent, pitta type. Yeah. Then we can find a kapha type who tends to gain weight, who tends to be slower, calmer, perhaps more content, but more difficult to change, more caring, but also more attached and not always able to make life move the way they want to go. We also have the Vata dosha, the air type, which is highly volatile, up and down, creative, expressive, adaptable, but often ungrounded, unstable, or trying to change things too quickly. So each of these types has their good side and their potential difficulties, depending upon how we understand the doshas and how we manage them in our own lives. So in Ayurveda, we apply or look at the doshas relative to dietary recommendations, relative to exercise recommendations, work, vocation, relationship, spirituality even, and for understanding our strengths and vulnerabilities as a person.
Thank you. You mentioned a little bit the connection between Ayurveda and the diet. How can individuals tailor their diet based on their dosha, and what role does mindful eating play in Ayurveda?
Yes, we must be aware of our dosha in all that we do. And the diet or the food is the basis of life. We are what we call the annamaya kosha, the sheath of food or the physical body. So for health and well-being, first of all, we have to have natural food, not artificial, not overly prepared. We have to remain connected to nature. Home-cooked food is the best. Of course, it's harder to do. But otherwise, that naturalistic approach to diet has to be brought in. We often recommend at least more vegetarianism. We don't say you can't eat meat, but it's important to stay in harmony with nature. And a mindful eating, as you say, we need to be conscious and attentive when we are eating. Why? Because the mind is also part of how we eat and digest food. Our mind is always affecting the nervous system, which in turn affects the digestive system. So if our minds are disturbed, or our eating times are erratic, or we're looking at something else, then we're not able to hold that digestive power. We also call that Agni, the digestive fire. So we say eating food should also be kind of a ritual, a kind of sacred thing, or at least done with attention and awareness, and at the same time bringing in what we need from all the different aspects of natural food, whether it is root vegetables, leafy vegetables, whether it is dairy products, whether it is fruit, nuts, so many things. And of course, there's no standard formula, and variation, diversity is required. And seasonal changes are there, and daily changes are there.
I've written a very interesting book that I personally like it a lot, The Yoga of Herbs. I wanted to ask you if you can share insights into the use of specific herbs for common health issues or to balance specific doshas.
Well, herbs are the main healing modality in Ayurveda. Of course, we also have massage and massage oils. These can also use herbs. We also have herbs and spices in the cooking. But we most specifically have a very profound and detailed herbal science with quite a variety of preparations, medicated oils, ghees, types of fermented products, types of, you might say, herbal jellies and convections and things like that. So there's quite a variety there. And we say the herbs should be part of our daily life, just as you need your food. You also need certain herbs, some for spices, but others for improving your well-being at different levels. We know there's herbs that are very good for the cold or seasonal changes. There are herbs that can help us with sleep and rest and relaxation. And there are herbs that can help calm the mind. There are also herbs can help stimulate the mind. And it sounds very complex, but actually it can be rather simple. You know, for example, a simple herb like ginger is a very good spice for all kinds of food and most types of doshas. It also addresses a lot of the colds and flus and seasonal changes. It's also good for the circulation and helping us with activity. And so there are many simple herbs that we should make our friends, and we can also learn more specific herbs for different problems.
Thank you. In your course, Ayurvedic Healing, you mentioned that Ayurveda is the healing aspect of yoga. Can you share with us how do yogic practices such as asanas, pranayama, and meditation complement Ayurvedic principles, and what benefits do they offer collectively?
Yes. What's very interesting, the goal of Ayurveda is alignment, but it's aligning the body, the prana, the senses, the mind to our inner self and consciousness, which is called Atma or Purusha in yoga. And yoga is about that same alignment. Of course, yoga also talks about alignment at a physical level. And Ayurveda also talks about harmonizing, aligning our diet and other factors. So the goal of Ayurveda, like yoga, is a greater consciousness, and wellness is part of awareness. It's not just something simply physical. It requires a higher awareness to help us manage the mind and body properly, which are great instruments, but also need to be kept in the proper way. Now, more specifically, Ayurveda uses yoga in the Yoga Sutra sense as its main means of psychological therapy. Now, if you look at Yoga Sutras, yoga is more a science of meditation. Asana is very important for calming and clearing the pranic knots in the body so that we can meditate. Pranayama gives us a deeper prana for healing, which is very important in Ayurveda, but it also helps us calm the mind because mind and prana are connected. And so what happens is if the mind is disturbed, the prana is disturbed. If the prana is disturbed, the mind is disturbed. So right use of the breath at various levels is very important for health and well-being and also for calmness of mind. Then when we go to pratyahara, right use of the senses is very important because the senses are also a type of food. In fact, I tell students what junk food does to the body, junk impressions do to the mind.
Very interesting.
And of course, today we're being flooded with all kinds of artificial stimulations. In fact, a lot of the young people are addicted to junk food and junk impressions and are not able to relate to natural food and natural impressions. So the right use of the senses is very important. And in Ayurveda, wrong use of the senses is considered to be one of the main causes of disease overall, because wrong use of the senses causes us to then try to eat the food that's not good for us, do the exercise that's not good for us, take in the mental energies that are not good for us. So management of the senses is important. Then we have this important thing we call the power of attention. This is called dharana in yoga. And what's happened to us is that we're losing our power of attention. Your power of prana, mind, is measured by your power of attention. How long can you hold your attention on a certain subject? Attention is diminishing.
Yeah. Nowadays, we live in a world that we are in constant movement. People are distracted. Media information coming all around them, and it looks like concentration. It's not easy for them. Are there any ideas to practice concentration?
Well, first of all, our power of attention, and even connected to the senses. We need to go out in nature every day. And the mind heals itself with space. If you're looking at a two-dimensional screen, you have to infer a third dimension. Your mind tends to get rather narrow, black and white, and superficial. So there are perceptual exercises. Go out and look at the sky, the clouds, the stars, reclaim your depth perception. Go out into nature where there's space and openness and where you can bring the prana of nature in. Prana is coming more from the forces of nature, the trees, the sky, etc., than it's going to be coming just from a computer box. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't use the media. We're using the media right now. But we need to compensate for that. Just as if your job involves sitting in a chair all day long, you have to do physical exercises for well-being. If your job involves looking at a computer or a cell phone or social media all day long, you have to go out somewhere where you can create space, clear your mind. And of course, there's also mantra, meditation. You can gaze at a candle or a ghee lamp, and you can practice the art, we call it resetting the mind.
Yeah.
You have to reset your computer once in a while to clear the memory. You need to reset the mind through silence, meditation, openness, and letting things go.
Yeah, thank you. How do you envision the future of Vedic studies and its impact on global consciousness and well-being?
Very important question. Today, we are having such rapid technological changes that we're losing our sense of identity, our connections with nature, and we're easily disturbed by constant changes. Vedic science is very important because with all the changes in society going on today, we're losing kind of our deeper awareness, and we're being run by our instruments. Our computer is telling us what to do. In fact, with artificial intelligence, we're also thinking that we may get directed by our artificial intelligence. We'll go there to ask how to feel better, what job to get, how to have better relationships, even though the AI is not a living being. So we need to have a deeper awareness so that we can use our technology in the optimal way. If you are not an aware, attentive, conscious person, how can you use an advanced technology? You just cannot look up answers for how you should live on the internet. You also have to go out into nature and do what is best for you. And that remains the art and science of living. You have to cultivate and use your own prana, your own tension, your own awareness. And that is what the Vedic sciences teach us. And that is very important for the future of all humanity. Because if we are not conscious, then the machines are going to tell us what to do. And the machines can only remain mechanical and mathematical. We need life, joy, happiness, art, expression,
Creativity.
spirituality. And that is the Vedic life.
Thank you. Can you speak a little bit about the gunas?
Yes. In Ayurveda and in yoga, we understand the universe according to three gunas, or primary energies. In fact, we see these even in science. Sattva is the quality of light. Rajas is a quality of energy. And tamas is a power of inertia or materiality at a cosmic level, these three basic forces. But they also exist within us. We have a force of inertia or tamas relative to the physical body, which is dense and heavy and material. We have a quality of energy relative to the prana, the senses, the motor organs. And we also have a quality of sattva, light, or clarity at the level of the mind. So these three forces are working within us. But what happens is that these gunas can cause problems. What do we mean? In Ayurveda, we say that rajas, this disturbed aspect of energy, and tamas, inertia, become disease-causing factors at the level of the mind, which should be sattva or clarity. So we ask people to lead a sattvic life, or a life guided by a higher awareness, and not be driven by rajasic energies or tamasic inertia. Tamas, they have their role in how body and prana work, but we need to address them from a state of calm. These same gunas then exist in society. For example, we have so much turbulence, rajas, overstimulation in the society. We also have a lot of inertia, attachment, darkness. And so we need to align our behavior and our awareness with the sattva guna. So what Ayurveda teaches is then, let's do not only a diet for our dosha, but consider food that is more sattvic, more natural, with more prana, not overly spicy, greasy, heavy. These are more rajasic, tamasic qualities. And this extends to all of our activities and behavior. So the first level of Ayurveda is balancing the doshas of Vata, Pitta, Kapha. And the second and even psychological level is increasing sattva guna and keeping tamas and rajas in their place and not letting them dominate us. But we are in a society where today we're being overly stimulated. And there's an interesting balance of rajas and tamas. If you're overly active and stimulated, what happens? You end up getting dull and tired. So rajas becomes tamas. So we need to manage the gunas in our lives. And remember, if we are not aware and clear, how can we be functioning well in anything?
Thank you. What final thoughts or advice would you like to share with our audience, especially those who are exploring Ayurveda and yoga for the first time?
Ayurveda and yoga are vast and profound sciences of right living, right consciousness, understanding the universe within us, but they are also the most practical way of living, living in harmony with nature, living in harmony with our own individual nature, and learning how nature works. I mean, we're all eating food. We all should know how food works. We all have a digestive system. How does it work? What does it take? There are many spices that can make eating easier and better and tastier. We can also learn how to use them. For example, yoga is also teaching us what is the right way to exercise or to move. We're all moving. Why don't we do it with consciousness rather than with inertia and lack of awareness? So we get through yoga and Ayurveda the right way of working with what we're doing all the time. For example, we all sleep every day, but most of us don't know how to prepare the way for a good sleep or even when to get up properly in the morning. So that wisdom of life is there in Ayurveda. So it begins at a level that's relevant to everyone for self-healing and understanding their individual constitution. It moves eventually into very complex clinical methods. Ayurvedic doctors in India take 6 years of study, but that doesn't mean you can't benefit from Ayurveda in your daily life and yoga. And in fact, we say it should be taught to all the children and to everyone so that we have the right relationship with the body, the mind, and the senses. Because that's what we're doing all the time. If you're using your senses in a wrong way, eating the wrong food, having irregular sleep and exercise patterns, how can you be happy even if you're brilliant or have lots of money? So let's come back to that wisdom of life, and Ayurveda does that, teaches you very simple things. If, for example, if you stop having ice drinks with your food, that's going to improve your digestion. So we start out with what is simple, and we have so much to offer from there in terms of what we are doing in our lives and how we interact with nature.
Thank you, Dr. FRAWLEY. I'm very happy that I had this interview with you, and I'm sure that this information will be helpful for many people. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be with you and look forward to our continuing association and our work from including in your countries, including Albania, France, quite
Yeah.
amazing. And of
Thank you.
course, our global activity.
Thank
How
you.
do you?
Hari Om.